Welcome back to the Farming Sims channel. I'm on East Vineland, New Jersey for the Supply Chain Crisis Challenge. We are in the end of year one, and I would just like to take this opportunity to give you a quick update on how our first year has gone since this supply chain crisis started. Just as a reminder, we have no fuel on the map from the gas station. We also only get supplies and new vehicles from the dealership every August. It's the only time he can guarantee supplies into the town. So at the beginning of the game, in August last year, we purchased our equipment and our supplies to last us for the first year. And we're now coming around to August, where I will change over to the next farm manager. This is on a dedicated server, multiplayer server. So Farmer Murphy will take over next month as the farm manager, and all the decisions, the vital decisions of supply and direction of the farm, will be taken over by him. It's been a real teamwork effort this year. It's been a bit of a grind, and I thought I would thank everyone on the server that's helped out, because it hasn't been an easy challenge. First of all, we are on hard economy, and if you haven't played on hard economy before, it's quite different to normal. It is a lot harder. I challenge anyone to move from normal mode onto hard mode. Makes the game quite different. For example, we're focused on animals on this first year. You'll be interested to know that animals in normal mode, you could question whether the supply of the feed is actually beneficial instead of just selling the food. There's only a very small margin on your animals in normal mode. However, in hard mode, the value of the feed, the crop that you're putting into your animals, and we're feeding the pigs manually, by the way, so we add each of the crops as they need them. The value of those crops are much lower in hard mode, meaning the value of your pigs are much higher when you go to sell them, or if you are converting the slurry like we are into fertilizer, the fertilizer still has a high cost to purchase. And by converting the slurry into fertilizer, it has a really good value to us. So in hard mode, animals make a lot more sense. In this challenge, we have a number of objectives. Objective number one is to be self-sufficient. So producing diesel, fertilizer, seed and lime is very important. And as I just mentioned, we've already got fertilizer running. Our pigs are doing really well. We're up to 245 pigs. Every month, 35 piglets are born, and they're cruising along really nicely. We also have manure generating here, 38,000 litres of manure now. I've already got a bit of straw put aside there for the next year's worth until our next crops come around. This is just a cover crop that's been planted to the right here, getting ready for another canola planting next month. We have corn in these two fields to our left. Again, we've been using cover crops to help us with our fertilization states. We have sheep down the back. We have about 300 sheep now down the back there, breeding 25 every month. We're using bins here instead of a silo, and we're using individual bins for our crops. This has got 15,000 soybean. We have empty here 11,000 canola left over. We're using that to feed the pigs. And 40,000 wheat already this month from wheat harvest contracts. So we've been relying on contracts in this first year very heavily, as you can imagine, because our our ability to make a profit has been fairly limited, especially seeing we started with very little land. The fields that you just saw there, the canola field and the two cornfields over there, they're our basic fields that we have. We have a couple of smaller ones that we picked up through the year. This is either our starting equipment that we started off last August or second-hand equipment, used vehicles from other farmers that we picked up during the year. So we've got another mulcher mower here, one set up as mowing, one set up as mulching. We picked up a number of items through the year, a weeder, which has come in really handy. This plough, it's currently set as 15 shanks, but it can go up to 17 shanks for 170 horsepower. It's a great little plough. We picked up this cultivator just recently, 5 meter cultivator. We've got the new sugar beet equipment that we picked up secondhand through the year, and a potato planter. There are potato harvesters in the background that we started off with. Picked up a second harvester this year, along with a second header. This was our starting header here. We picked up a 25 footer, I think 28 footer, second hand. This stores our potatoes. We got 27,000 litres of potatoes here. We're pretty well set up for second year from the point of view of we've got some crops in our bins ready to make some money off some production that Murphy might want to jump into. You'll notice that our tractors lineup has changed a little as well. We have the Series 3 Field Boss here, 170 horsepower. We just got this recently. And we picked up an extra couple of Deutz-Fahrs. We sold the Case 145 XL and the 4440 John Deere. They both got us a decent price on the second-hand market. And obviously a farmer was getting rid of a couple of these Deutz-Fahrs, and we couldn't resist picking them up. They were very cheap. We have the little Ford here, which is our little farm tractor. It's a good little workhorse around the farm. So these are the leftover supplies from last year, from last August. We actually had Diesel IBCs that we started off with buying about 20,000 litres of diesel. So we have about 5,000 litres left there, which means I didn't run out, which was kind of lucky. But we do have the diesel production up and running. We also have fertilizer production up and running. We almost ran out of seed, but with 40,000 litres of wheat in the bin over there, that gives Murphy a really good seed option this year to make us self-sufficient there. Up north is a stone crusher up there that came on the map that we're producing lime with as well now. So we did run out of lime, but we're producing our own now. Yeah, we got the sheep down the back. We cut this grass in here, and we did remove most of the forest all the way down the back there. That wood came in really handy, which I'll touch on in a minute. But the farm, I feel like the farm is doing really well for first year. It was a real struggle. We didn't have any money to really to speak of once we purchased the land and all of this equipment. It was intended to be an 8-player multiplayer. It didn't really work out that way with people's real life issues to deal with. It really turned out to be around about 4 or 5 player. So we don't really need that second harvester. And I'm not really even sure that we need 5 tractors. I really did want to make sure I invested in enough equipment that if the 8 players did want to play, that it wasn't a downside for them to sort of like there's not enough equipment for us to use. So I think I've gone a little over on the equipment on first year, and I think Murphy can attest to that. The amount of purchases that I've made, it's probably a little bit over the top. Second trailer comes in handy. Um, I've probably invested in the sugar beets too early. I don't know that I needed 2 of a whole heap of items. It's handy to have a second plough and second cultivator. They're kind of good jobs to do together when we're multiplaying. But it hasn't. I don't think this is as popular as what I thought it might have been. I mean, it is hard economy with very small equipment to start with. Only a few fields. It's fairly restrictive. We do rely on contracts, but we have been very proactive on the contracts by looking after all the fields on the map to make sure they've got good yield bonuses so that we get all of the harvesting contracts. I'll quickly jump here to the finances page. Shows a lot of my expenses in the last 6 months since winter. Construction costs and new vehicles. I've spent a bit. I bought a field. The vehicle running costs are starting to get a little high, 16,000 this month with a lot of second-hand equipment. Uh, baling, baling our own grass and extras off grass field contracts have been a good profit for good income for us there. The sold products in the last 2 months, we put in a straw production, and that cost us 70 grand to put in. I think you'll see that in construction costs there in June, 71,000. But we've almost made the money back. There's about 55,000 there, so 56,000. So we're almost square on the straw production already, just after a couple of months. Contract income, you can see there is our main source of income, and 111,000 this month was primarily from harvesting contracts. We also got lucky with a collectible that gave us a bonus there of $100,000. That was a nice chunk of cash. So we have 276,000 in the bank, and that's going to give Murphy some cash to spend next month on new equipment. There are some things that he could change around. He could change some of these tractors around. We have 80 hours on one of these Deutz-Fahrs and more than 60 on the other. So these 2 Deutz-Fahrs probably could be replaced. Probably another 1 or 2 of these would be nice. We probably don't need the second harvester. We didn't get any seeding contracts. I really wanted to make some money on planting potato contracts, sowing potato contracts, and we didn't get any. This is still sitting here. It's a total waste. There's not a lot of sugar beets on the map this year, so we're only going to make a little bit of money from sugar beets contracts. Maybe this was a bargain. Yeah, and the expense of the second harvester and the second header, he can probably get rid of those. I don't think any of the players will complain. Maybe keep it for another month. If I show you what the map looks like. Oh, I've got the map set up here, so I was looking at what's available next month. Next month is wheat, barley, sorghum, and potatoes. And if I flick across to growth, you'll see that they're all basically going to switch over next month. They're all going to be ready. So there is a lot of harvesting work next month. And all of those cultivated fields and the ploughed fields, they were all done this month. So they were all Well, the ploughed fields we lost. We lost them because they were 83%, and with wheat, with that, sorry, they were barley fields, and 83% on barley is a non-complete in hard mode here. So they all disappeared. They went straight across to being ploughed. They were the only 4 fields on the map that needed ploughing. We missed them at the start of the year last August. I don't even know whether they came up, to be honest, in the list, or whether they just planted with barley straight away, I think. But all of the cultivated fields there, they're all the fields we harvested this month. All of the dark green fields will be contracts this month, and we're looking at picking up. We picked up these 2 little fields here, so we'll probably buy 103 either at the end of this month. That's wheat, and we also bought this little field over here. So we might look at Murphy's in a position that he could buy some land. But if you haven't seen before, the land on this map is like super expensive. The block of land here to start on was 420,000. This was just a grass field for 180, 101 for the land that I put the pigs on. The house that we started with, 200,000. So you can see that 300 there, 230 there. Just for the sheep to go, the land that the sheep go on was 190,000. So we did spend a heap of money on land to begin with. So just expanding into this one is another 200. If we look at little tiny fields like this, 77,000, but it's very small. Yeah, so we bought this one over here for 132. So I should have probably focused more on land in the first year, but I kind of focused more on the animals. I spent a lot of money on getting the animals set up, mainly because they take so long to get running. And I know that in hard mode, they will really be a key to us being self-sufficient, give us a little bit of a profit, and keep the town running. So the supply chain has a couple of elements to it that need to be completed, and that's self-sufficiency. All 4 of the custom animal pens need to be placed. Well, we've already placed the sheep, the chickens, and the pigs. There's a plot up on the hill up there for the cows, and that's the only one we've got left. It's a big one though. It's going to cost us $1 million to get the cows down on the ground. The plot of land is 500 and the cows are 500,000. So that's really going to take a bit of cash to get that rolling. I don't think we'll be aiming at that this year. I'm just taking a quick drive down to our production area that we started. When I started the year off, I put the diesel production in. I knew that was essential to get running first year, and we've already got 20,000 litres of diesel produced, which means Murphy doesn't really have to worry about that now. He can probably produce another 20,000 over the coming year, and we'll have more than enough. But bought this block of land here with a bit of landscaping, and I got so I got the diesel production in here. I also got the slurry into fertilizer production just there with a nice little tanker there. That's a liquid tanker that can handle all liquid types. Down the back here, this is the supermarket and the straw processing. So as you can see, we've got some pallets here. Next month, I think, yeah, August and September, the price max out for the straw products. So Murphy, I said to Murphy if he wants to put some aside and wait until next month before he sells them. Sell Point's just around here. The supermarket sells the products as well. So we've got this little complex here that works quite well. And yeah, with some seed production, I think we'll really be self-sufficient at that point. I will quickly show you the productions. So we've got a little bit of flour running here, a little bit of barley and oats flour. They're almost finished. I figured I'd finish off today, both of those. Down the bottom here we have the debris crusher, which turns the rock into lime, and we've got 17,000 lime already. We've got almost 20,000 in diesel. We've got 27,000 in fertilizer, and the straw has run out. So next year, when we get some straw coming in, we can convert that into decent products here and make a little bit of cash from it. So the production's been going really well. The animals are going really well. I'm really happy with the animals. They're producing every month now. The pigs will have the chickens will have 500 next month. The pigs are well on their way now. They're going to produce 35 every month now. And the sheep are already cruising along, and they're producing enough wool to keep the well, there's a second part to the challenge. The second part to the challenge was we're worried that we would advance too quickly. Even though this is hard mode and it's a very difficult challenge, we made it even harder. We put in a township survival challenge. So there's a farm in the town and it's called the Vineland Township. They started with $50,000 and they're losing $5,000 a month, which meant in 10 months they'd be bankrupt. And we had to stop the town from going bankrupt. So what happened is I concentrated on the township a lot in this year, and the township purchased the spinnery and the tailor. It also bought the bakery, the sawmill, and the carpentry. So what ended up happening is with our wool, we produced our wool into the spinnery and made clothes for them, and that gave them a good income from the clothes this year. We also own the grain mill, so we provided the bakery with flour, and they've been making bread all year round. And then finally, with all of the wood that we chopped down, either from small amounts of trees on our own land, little plot of land that I purchased that had a little bit of forestry on it, we sent all that wood into the sawmill, which then supplied the carpentry with furniture. That was probably the biggest ticket item because we had that running on triple speed for them. So the map got updated recently, and he added a 3 times speed to most of the productions. Not the spinnery, however. I would have loved it to be on the spinnery, to be honest with you, but the spinnery is the slowest thing on the map, and he's added it to the clothes, but it's pointless on the clothes because you have to wait for the fabric. So there's triple on the 3. So basically what happens is you get 3 times the speed, but it costs you extra in the production cost. So the production cost is 3 times more. So bread costs you 60, but at triple speed or is it double speed or triple speed? It costs you 120. So it costs you a little bit extra to run it faster if you want to run it faster, which is a nice add-on to the map, by the way. Yeah, so we've really concentrated on um, on the township, and in doing that, that meant that we sold $180,000 worth of products this month. Most of that was furniture. Some of it was clothes, but we sold clothes at the high price in March, April, and got a lot of money for the clothes then. Which means they've repaid their loan. They had a $500,000 loan at the start of the year, and they now have a balance of $136,000. They don't own any vehicles. They don't have any crop. They don't own any land except for their production. So wherever that's the bakery, the dealer, the sawmill, carpentry, spinnery, and tailor. So the, once they achieved a bank loan repaid, that was their first challenge, which is now complete. I thought that would actually take a couple of years to complete, but like I said, I focused on the township probably a little bit too much to the detriment of our own farm. But their second challenge is to afford the solar plant up here. The town needs a power source, and for $419,000, that's their next challenge. So this year, if Murphy could get them up to $420,000 and get the power source, that will generate income for the town without us having to work for the town. And in return, in the future, the town is going to buy up all of the residential blocks on the map. So slowly, as they make some profit, they'll purchase all of these houses and residential blocks here. And if you have a look at the map, there's 118 fields, but there's like 221 plots of land, which means there's about 100, 102, 103 plots of land which are not fields. So I don't know that we'll ever be able to buy the 118 plots of land. And I also don't know whether the township will be able to afford the extra 103 residential plots, just because of the how expensive the land is on this map. But the challenge that we've got left is the cow farm, the self-sufficiency, which we're almost there, and the productions. We have to own the rest of the productions. The rest of the productions is $1.1 million biogas plant. There's an oil mill over here, which Murphy might actually chase after this year. I think we could make some profit off that if he did. There is the dairy here to go with the cow farm once we get the cow farm up and running. If we get sugar beets running, we can run the sugar mill. And I think the last one will probably be the grape processing unit. That's basically everything. I think that covers just about everything. To be honest, I thought this challenge would be... Well, I love the sound of this tractor. I knew this challenge would be difficult. I don't think it's very popular. In fact, I don't think many players actually play in hard mode. You'll find that the yields on the fields are lower. You'll find that the yield bonuses to complete contracts is higher. So you can very easily miss a lot more contracts than what you do in normal mode. Yeah, it's almost crazy to sell any produce that's just any grains or anything like that hasn't gone through a production. You need to value add on all your grains, on all your crops. Otherwise, it's really slow. That's what we were really looking for, though. that slowness, that not expanding too fast. After Angevin, I expanded very quickly on that map, and I really wanted to restrict myself in this first year. As it turns out, the township has done amazingly well, and they're sitting in a really good position. And I think we've done really well considering that it's not really popular with all the players on the server, um, and that it's a little bit more of a grind than what some people might like. We just didn't want to advance so quickly into $1 million equipment. We really wanted to feel it on this game save. So I think we've achieved that. I think Murphy's got a tough year ahead, trying to get ahead with some land purchases and some productions that'll increase our profitability. He doesn't really need to worry about the township anymore, which will help him, and he doesn't really need to worry about spending too much on products here in August. We can make almost everything if he puts a seed production in, and then we don't have to buy expensive seed. We don't have to buy expensive diesel, expensive fertilizer. The herbicide over the back there wasn't even used this year. We caught all the weeding early with the weeder, so the sprayer hasn't even been used. He can probably sell the sprayer, but with that herbicide there, we might as well keep it for a little while. Maybe even use the herbicide up and then sell it. But this weeder here is excellent. I would have liked to have improved some of our equipment this year, but that's because I'm a little bit crazy on the equipment. I think Murphy should probably downscale some of this, sell off some of the stuff that we're not really using, and focus a little bit more on profitability instead of me spending so much money on equipment. This seed is pretty good, by the way. Fertilizers and seeds and direct drills, 6 meters wide. We could probably do with a better fertilizer spreader than this one, just a little 18-meter one. But I think that should cover everything. Corn header over the back here, by the way. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the grind on this, and not advancing too quickly. We have made a lot of money this year for both us and the township, which is kind of surprising, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder than what it is. Mind you, I don't know whether I want to try this as single player, guys. I mean, we have regularly had four players on the map quite often. And that makes life easier hitting all those contracts. Single player, I'm not sure that I would have got through this year as a single player, but this has been great on the dedicated server. It's live. We're about to tick over to July 21. It's 21-day months, 3 times speed, which means a month lasts a week, real time. And I wish you luck, Murphy. I hope you do well, mate. I'll help you out as much as I can. I hope the others do too. It'll be a tough year, but probably a much better year than what I've just had. As for the viewers out there, this is probably not your game style, and I understand that. But if you're interested in hitting the like button or subscribing if you haven't, if you've lasted this far, go ahead and hit the like button for me. And I appreciate you watching. Thanks, everyone.